Old man Morgan is feeling well today. He's 93 years old. His life journey has been full of downs, ups, and even mystical events. One such mystical event was his encounter with the sapphire ring given to him 50 years ago by a mysterious old lady. That night, Morgan wandered through the streets of an unfamiliar city, looking for a suitable company for the evening. Suddenly, he heard a woman's voice asking for help. Morgan stopped and listened to the call. The other passers-by in the tiny alleyway didn't bother to look away and walk on. Morgan noticed the cry for help coming from the window of one of the houses along the ancient street. Morgan went to the voice. To his surprise, the ancient two-story house with the stone walls appeared doorless. He walked around this house twice, but has yet to find the entrance. Then how do people live inside this house? He wondered. He raised his head and looked around again. The house was ordinary. It had tall floor-to-ceiling windows, with lights on in some of the windows. Morgan was newcomer to this town and didn't know the history of this house, but the desire to help a stranger made him stay here and look for the entrance. The screaming stopped, but Morgan began to worry. What if something happened to the girl, and he didn't have time to help her? Just as he was about to climb the tree and get through to the house window, he saw an old woman dressed smartly with smiling eyes in front of him. "Young man, that's enough. You've passed the exam. You don't need to climb the tree. You won't get inside the house anyway," said the old woman, smiling at Morgan. "I have to help the woman. She's obviously in some trouble." "Do you know where the door to this house is?" Morgan asked, not understanding the old woman's words. "You're not expected there. You don't need to enter that house. It was enough for you to hear the call for help and decide you made the right decision, and for that, you deserve a gift," said the old woman, and then she rummaged in her purse for something. "This is a ring, chooses its owner. It brings great luck. You don't try to serve this ring and don't get attached to it. It loves freedom. Could you keep it in a safe place? If it disappears, don't look for it. It's fulfilling its mission," said the old woman, and handed Morgan a ring with a large green stone. Morgan thanked her and walked on. He didn't like to wear jewelry, so he just left it in his pocket for the next few days. His head was filled with other problems. Morgan had come to this town, and that time looking for work. He is an excellent horse expert. Almost 2 months had passed since his arrival, but he hadn't been able to find a suitable job yet. And then, in a local small pub, he overheard a stranger complaining to his friend that he couldn't find a worker. Morgan didn't even have to get up from his desk to get the job. The stranger invited him home the same day and accepted him as a manager of his West Country farm. The employer turned out to be a nobleman. For the next 10 years, he faithfully paid Morgan a good salary and gave him valuable advice. When Morgan realized he needed to grow further, he employed to help him organize his farm. At the time, Morgan didn't realize that his rise was connected to this ring. But one day, he read an interesting article in the newspaper that there is a mystical ring of success walking around the world, which many people hunt. Journalists write that this ring does not let itself be caught by those who chase it. It chooses a new owner and serves him for a while, then somehow mystically passed into other hands. There was even a picture of the ring in the newspaper. When he saw the image, Morgan remembered his meeting with the old man and her gift. Finally, he took her gift out of his pocket and compared it to the picture in the newspaper. This was it. For 43 years, Morgan had strictly observed the rules of the ring. He did not seek to show it off in public, but he did not hide it much either. He was sure that this valuable gift would someday serve its time and leave him, but the ring was not going to leave him. There was even an accident when Morgan was in a terrible accident, after which he could not find his expensive gold watch, leather wallet, and other valuables. But the sapphire ring stayed with him. 2 years ago, doctors gave Morgan a disappointing diagnosis. He did not grieve about it because he was happy with his life and its duration. Instead of despairing, he slowly prepared to depart to the next world. Today, he feels in his heart that this day is near, but he has not yet decided what to do with his ring. He decided to consult with his housekeeper, Nancy. Nancy has worked in his house for more than 20 years and knew all the secrets of this family. So Morgan trusted her. Nancy, dear, please tell me, what should I do with the magic ring? If I leave it to the one of the sons, the other two will resent me. I can sell it. The old lady told me 50 years ago that if you trade it for money, it will take offense. I want to hear your advice, said Morgan. Nancy leaned over and whispered something in his ear. Morgan liked her advice and decided to just do that, but Nancy was not interested in Morgan's final decision. It reminded his secret. After 3 days, in the early morning, Morgan went out to his flower garden for the last time, breathed deeply the fresh air of early spring, then returned to his bed and said goodbye to the world with a smile. The fate of the ring remained unknown to his 3 sons. 2 months they had passed. Now the late Morgan's sons took turns visiting Nancy. Nancy, tell the truth. Did Dada leave his ring to you? Each one of them asked. I've told each of you several times that I don't know what the ring's fate, but it's true. Then Morgan's oldest son, Gerald, didn't believe Nancy's words. He decided to get rid of her. Nancy, you're free. You can go wherever you want. I'm reworking my father's will so that when he dies, we will provide you with a place to live for 3 years. This is to punish you for refusing to tell your father's secrets, said Gerald, and his younger brothers, Raymond and Peter, supported him. After Nancy left, the brothers searched the whole house, not missing every corner. They turned over all of their father's great possessions and searched his safe, but they never found the ring. Then, all 3 experienced a bitter disappointment, closed their father's house on the lock, and dispersed to their homes in different cities. 6 months later, an exciting things happened at the home of Morgan's youngest son, Peter. Early in the morning, his wife Sarah told him a curious piece of news. Darling, look, the paper says that your brother Gerald has been promoted to a high position in the administration of his town. And before that, he was just a clerk. Do you know what that means? Sarah asked. What could it mean? Gerald has served in his office for a long time. He should rightfully rise in ranks. Or am I missing something? Peter wondered. I don't think so. Your brother Gerald always dislikes his job. He was always lazy and irresponsible. Even his wife complained about his laziness. He got his high position for a reason. Your father must have secretly gave him his magic ring, said Sarah. Her thoughts seemed plausible to Peter. The next day, Peter went to visit his big brother. When he arrived, he was shocked at the changes in his oldest brother's life. He now lives in a large country house instead of cramped apartment. His wife Matilda, a school teacher, left her job and now owns her jewelry salon. The house is full of servants. Gerald and his family live like rich people. Huh, now I get it. Father left you his ring after all. Now that you've made it big, it's time to share it with your loved ones. Give me the ring. I want a decent future for my children. Only my father's magic ring can help me, insisted Peter, to which Matilda responded with loud indignation. Peter, we have not seen your father's ring, though he had hoped for it very much. You seek it from us in vain. We know the ring is in Raymond's hands. It is for him to share with his other brothers, she said. From his older brother's words, Peter realized that their efforts made Gerald and his family dramatically rich. But Raymond's second brother raised even more questions. Gerald and Matilda said with undisguised envy that Raymond had recently founded his own company, his business had increased, and now he was working to realize his dream. And he had always dreamed of owning his soccer club. That's it. Hearing this, Peter was even more upset. After a few days, he went to the neighboring town where his brother Raymond and his family lived. When he visited Raymond, Peter was even more surprised. He had become more prestigious than Gerald. Now Raymond walks around surrounded by bodyguards. He has a personal driver, a personal masseur, a personal beautician, and a whole crowd of specialists who care of his health. He leads a social life. It was a huge deal. Oh, that's who got his father's magic ring. Raymond, you have accumulated enough financial wealth. Now pass me the ring. I'm tired of being unemployed. My wife Sarah and I often fight because I can't find an excellent job in my town, even though I'm a great craftsman. And you and your wife are well settled. You have more than you need. Peter said he wouldn't have allowed this inequality if my fathers were alive, to which his brother was shocked. Peter, brother, what are you talking about? Is there a ring behind my success? Don't you think all that talk about a good luck ring was a fairy tale? Dad might have told that story for our amusement. I don't believe in it. As for my success, I've had to work day and night for the last 3 years. I suggest you do the same. I'm sure that you will succeed, answered Raymond, and saw his brother off. On the way home, Peter thinks about his brother's words and concludes that his father might have taken the ring to the grave with him. When he reached home, he decided to find the ring at any cost. At home, he shared his thoughts with Sarah. As a result, the next day, Peter took a shovel in his hand and went to the cemetery. Sarah went along with him to help him if necessary. You stay here and watch. If you see anyone, give me a sign, Peter instructed, and headed for his father's grave with a trowel in hand. But it didn't work from the start. Peter's hands trembled, he felt dizzy, and his heart was filled with dread. He sat down on the bench to gather his strength. It was quite some time before he started digging. Sorrow began to rush him. Then Peter gathered all his strength in his fist again and started digging. But the unexpected happened. His shovel broke. Damn it! This is not my day. Peter was loudly indignant. Honey, someone is coming our way. Sarah came rushing to him. He no sooner had the couple hidden than a tall, bearded old man with a stern look approached them. It was the watchman of the cemetery. Hey guys, Are you in trouble? What are you doing here? He asked. We are done, and we are on our way out, Peter answered in a hurry. Why did you stick a shovel in your father's grave? The watchman asked in surprise. And here Peter was at a loss of explanation. His father had told him in his lifetime that the best way to get out of an unclear situation was to tell the truth. Peter remembered that rule right away, and it worked. The watchman listened to his story with amazement, and then he made an unexpected offer. I will help you dig up that ring. Just promise me you will let me wear it for a while. I've dreamed of many things all my life, and I want to fulfill at least one. A dream, of course, requires a lot of money. What do you say to that? Peter immediately agreed to the watchman's proposal. A few minutes later, he brought his big sturdy shovel. It's spring. The soul is loose. We will do it quickly, said the watchman, sticking the shovel into the soil. But he was surprised when the next moment the metal shovel broke with a creak. Damn it, that can't be. It's very good quality shovel, said the watchman and scratched his head, unable to find an explanation. Another man saw them while the three were discussing what to do next. The grave-digging team noticed the big man when he approached them. Hey guys, I was walking by and I overheard something in your conversation. What do you intend to do? Said the strange man, dressed as a church minister. When the watchman saw the new visitor, he seemed frightened. Deacon, I'm glad to see you. Are you seeing of one of the honorable citizens of our town today? Asked the watchman, trying to distract the churchman, but he was vigilant. It doesn't matter how I got here. I always end up where I'm needed, and when I'm needed. I hear you wanted to dig up a grave. I strongly advise you not to do so. The consequences will be terrible for everyone, said the deacon, and was about to leave. Suddenly, Peter looked at his hand and could not believe his eyes. Morgan's ring was on the deacon's finger. He noticed Peter looking at the ring. Oh yes, Peter, your father was a fantastic man. I have this ring as a souvenir from him. Now, every time this ring shows its miracle, I pray for the repose of your father's soul, said the deacon, and left their company. Peter and his wife were returning home. On the way, Sarah persuaded her husband to go to the deacon tomorrow and buy the ring, but they were stopped by the police at the city's entrance and told there was no point in going there now. A massive tsunami has hit our town. Rescue workers say the city is being wiped out. You're lucky you were away then, but you're still alive, said the policeman. Peter and Sarah looked at each other in total confusion. They had to go to the Gerald house and ask to stay with him. Peter had no idea how their future life would turn out. Although he was an excellent craftsman, he had had no luck with work for a long time. One such day later, Peter got a sudden call and was offered to lead a team to rebuild the city. Peter had always dreamed of improving his city, but he had not realized how to realize this vision. A year later, Peter was known and respected by the whole town as a professional. He had successfully rebuilt the city. After a while, Sarah reminded him that it was time to buy back his father's ring from the deacon, but the churchman's answer stunned him. Peter, the thing is, the ring has already fulfilled its mission in your life. It saved your life when you went looking for it. You will have died in the tsunami under the rubble. Remember your father's advice. You can get attached to that ring. Don't go after it again, said the deacon. After a while, Peter's friends told him that the deacon had received an excellent offer from the leading church in the city, and he was happy to leave. Peter did not regret the ring because there was no room for superstition in his further professionally rich life.